Hi guys, I'm Jahangeer Asif, your today's host and founder of Grow Junction. Today we have with us Ranjeet Deshmukh, who is the founder of RoadBounce, which startup recently got funded from Shark Tank India. Your own favorite shark, Peyush Bansal, founder of lenskart. Let's hear about his journey, Ranjeet sir himself.
Sure. So thank you very much for having me here, and it's my pleasure to be on Grow Junction. Uh, I basically was a purely software developer when I started my career around 22 years back, and I was working in US when the WTC tower thing happened, right? So when the planes went into the tower and they went down. So that was like one of the emotional triggers where I thought of moving back to India. And we were expecting our first child at that time. So we sincerely believed that we should raise our child in Indian culture, not in American culture or war zone. That was one of the reasons why we moved back. And that was kind of start of my startup journey.
Okay.
So this is my third startup now. I have done two startups before this, one with a successful exit and one with a failure. So I have seen both the sides of the world and now doing good with RoadBounce. So thank you for having me.
So it's like you are a serial entrepreneur, one after another startup you have launched. I wanted to know, regarding this road bounce, the word itself tells a lot about the startup. But I want to hear, like, did you notice this is the problem that you need to solve?
You know
What was
what?
the story behind? Like, was it a personal story or someone close to you, something happened that you thought that this problem need to be addressed?
Well, you know, I come from a generation, and I don't think things are different now. But we all at least know at least one person who has died in a road accident due to pothole,
Yes, yes.
right? So there was no emotional trigger behind starting this startup. Like I was, as I mentioned, I had done two startups before, and I was looking for something new to do. So essentially, what I did was I started talking with people, some influential people, and I started asking them, boss, is there any problem of yours which I can solve?
Hmm.
Not a solution idea. I asked for problems, and I met with a very senior guy from Public Works Department in Maharashtra who manages the road network, and he gave me a problem statement that now this is the other side of the story, that Maharashtra, for example, has 40,000 kilometers of roads, right?
Okay, 14,000 kilometers.
40,000. If you consider both sides of the roads, then it's at least 80,000. And I'm only talking about state highways and district roads, not about city roads. So
Okay.
80,000 kilometers of roads after every monsoon, after every rain. How do you find out where are the potholes? So the government literally does not have any machinery using which they can immediately identify where the potholes are and which need immediate attention. So I thought that's a fantastic problem statement because this is kind of a worldwide problem. And even if you think of it from a consumer perspective, Google Maps or Apple Maps, these people do not give riding quality data. So अगर मुझे पूना से गोवा जाना है, there are two ways to go there. Which road is better? Right? That's a very frequent question which we ask to our friends, and nobody has a rational, objective answer to this question. So that's where we thought this is a huge opportunity where there is an immediate demand, but it can also grow at scale. So that's how we started with RoadBounce.
Okay. So basically, can you give me a brief idea? Like you are a startup road bounce, find out the potholes that we get along on our journey on the roads. So that's you have developed a technical model of some kind of robot or something which actually trace, which you can fit in your car and which can let you know beforehand that in coming 2 kilometers or something there will be some hole potholes in your way, so that you can be alerted and you can slow it down and travel with a conscious. So am I right, or is there something addition to it?
No, absolutely. I mean, you are on the right track. Right now, if I have to report the pothole to government, what I have to do is go there, stop my car, take a picture, upload that picture, which is not a practical scenario, right? So what we did was we wrote a small software for on mobile,
Hmm.
and essentially when you are driving your car, we capture the vibrations coming to the mobile,
Hmm.
and based on the vibrations, we kind of profile the road. We figure out where are the potholes, where are the speed bumps. So there is no visual analysis going on. We just capture the vibrations, but we get very precision quality data, which is required by all these authorities worldwide.
Hmm.
So that's the core technology. Now, based on this technology, we have built multiple products. So one product is the robot, which you might have seen on the Shark Tank
Hmm.
episode. Right? So that was built with a special purpose. That was built for the Singapore government,
Hmm.
where they wanted to scan only short patches of the road,
Hmm.
because Singapore is a very small country.
Hmm.
They don't have potholes.
Hmm.
But then it was a customized offering for them.
Hmm.
Now we have multiple such offerings, which we sell to different customers. Now, to the second part of your question, like, can this app give me alerts of the upcoming portals? So that is something what we are working on right now. Because if you look at the business from startup perspective, it's kind of a chicken and egg problem, right? I mean, right now I do have data for Maharashtra roads, but what if somebody uses my app in Karnataka, right? They might say, कि अरे आपके पास तो data ही नहीं है.
Hmm.
And then to answer this question, I have to have India-wide data, and I have to maintain this data. It should be live, right? So कल अगर road कोई fix होता है, so this
Hmm.
data should also get updated. So which is a very huge problem to solve.
Hmm.
But we are building that model which can solve this problem.
Okay, okay. So, who are your like large client? Like it's a B2B model, I guess. And in B2B model, the more the clients are government. A majority of the clients are government.
Abhi dekho, since I started with a problem statement which was given to me by a government guy,
Hmm.
fortunately, unfortunately, government had been our first customer.
Okay.
Now, none of us had any experience of working with government, so we
Hmm.
learned through our way. And then slowly now we are moving to a B2G model where we provide services to businesses who are already working with government. So that's why we do partnerships and we take less complexity of
Hmm.
working with government.
Hmm. What was the challenge you faced while working with the government? You said that fortunately, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, a lot of challenges. Working with government is something what I would not suggest to any startup.
Okay.
Just because the amount of time and resources it takes for you to learn how to do it.
Hmm.
Once you learn how to do it, then it's fine. I mean, it has its own advantages and disadvantages.
Hmm.
And like for instance, I mean, I really liked working with government because of two reasons.
Hmm.
One reason is, first of all, it's a public office.
Hmm.
So I can walk into any municipal corporation. I can
Hmm.
say that I want to have a presentation with a commissioner,
Hmm.
and as long as I have a solid alibi why I am doing it,
Hmm.
they do entertain you. It's a public office. You can't walk into a TCS office and say कि मुझे CEO के साथ बात करना है.
Hmm.
Right? So that's a huge difference. Secondly, all the government offices nationwide are built on the same model. So if you know कि जैसे अभी MBA में आपको सिखाते हैं कि there are different user personas, right? एक buyer
Yeah.
है, एक आपका influencer है, एक decision maker है,
Hmm.
user है. So all this, so once you understand कि ठीक है जिस ऑफिस में मैं अप्रोच कर रहा हूँ उसमें chief executive is the decision maker, the executive engineer is the buyer, or whatever that formula is.
Hmm.
Then the formula can be replicated everywhere in India as long as you
Okay.
pick the right
Okay.
person, right? So you can templatize your sales activity. So these are two very big things, advantages. On the disadvantage part, working with government, बहुत प्रॉब्लम्स है. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल कैश फ्लो प्रॉब्लम, मतलब
Hmm.
आपको सारा इन्वेस्ट करना पड़ता है. यू हैव टू बिड फॉर द टेंडर, यू हैव टू पुट द ईएमडी, काम करना पड़ता है. उसके बाद में बिल निकालने के बारे में वो लोग सोचते हैं. Okay, so
Hmm.
probably get paid after. I mean, there are worst case scenarios where we got paid after 3 years of doing the work.
See.
I mean, as a startup, do you have
Hmm.
this capacity? राइट. अगर ठीक है, मतलब आपके पेरेंट्स अगर बहुत रिच है एंड दे आर फंडिंग यू विद मनी एंड 4 साल के बाद पैसा मिलेगा, प्रॉब्लम नहीं, then you can do it. Otherwise you shouldn't do it.
Okay. Okay. So like in the start, you might have developed a prototype or something. How difficult it was like to find a product market fit in the start after developing prototype. Anything on that?
Well, so okay, so I mean, first of all, finding a product market fit was not a challenge for us
Hmm.
initially because we started with a problem statement. You
Hmm.
know, that's the biggest difference.
Hmm.
एक बहुत common saying है कि startups में startup world में the
Hmm.
problem is most of the startups are solutions which are looking for problems.
Yeah, recently read a blog on that.
मैंने AI based attendance system बनाया, अब मैं किसको बेच सकता हूँ, राइट?
Hmm.
तो पहले आप प्रॉब्लम ढूंढो भाई, उसके बाद
Hmm.
में सॉल्यूशन चालू करो. So that was the positive part onto our side.
Okay.
But then when we started talking with people, we realized कि अरे working with government के साथ काम करना है, तो you have to have certain certification, you have to meet certain compliance norms.
Hmm.
फिर हर एक बंदे के दिमाग में अलग रॉकेट साइंस रहता है, right? So you meet with one person, not a single customer is happy with what you have.
Hmm.
They always have suggestions and they
Hmm.
want you to accept those suggestions.
Hmm.
But that's a process through which you achieve the ultimate product market fit.
Okay. So what was the journey about, like getting the first, because you are into B2B, getting the first 10 clients, for example, would be the hardest battle you need to find. After that, things start moving, people, you have some kind of thing to show that you are working for those clients. But how did you like convince them? Because you are also dealing with the government and you are also talking about the technology part of that. So you know that in government, a lot of things have been from a time been done on the non-technical side. There's a comprehensive process to do a small things. So like, how did you like convince them that this is the right thing to invest in? This is the right solution for this particular thing.
Right. So, well, I mean, obviously there is no silver bullet. Matlab, there
Hmm.
is no formula which I can give to somebody. You have to learn it by your own experience, and
Hmm.
that experience costs you money and time.
Hmm.
So initially, obviously, I mean, we didn't have that money and resources.
Okay.
So I had to sell my properties. I sold my house. I took loan from my family,
Hmm.
and that's how we funded our initial first year, 1.5 year.
Hmm.
But during this process, I think the key is sustenance. You know, like when you go to somebody and you pitch the idea,
Hmm.
and the person says, "Okay, okay, ठीक है, मैं सोचता हूँ इसके बारे में. आप एक काम करो, दिवाली के बाद आ जाओ."
Hmm.
क्योंकि या फिर अभी ठीक है, पॉटहोल के बारे में ना, तो एक काम करो, बारिश गिरने के बाद आ जाओ.
अच्छा.
तो उस पर्सन के लिए तो ये ठीक ठाक है, लेकिन मेरे लिए तो दैट मीन्स 6 months. तो
Hmm.
6 महीना में लोगों का सैलरी कैसा दूंगा?
Hmm.
So these are the typical problems, but sustenance is the key because when these people see you coming back again after 6 months, when they see you around for 1 year, 2 year, 3 years,
Hmm.
तब उनको ये गारंटी आता है कि ठीक है भाई, इसको मैंने काम दिया तो एटलीस्ट कोई न्यूज़पेपर मेरे बारे में गलत कुछ छापेगा नहीं, कोई आरटीआई मेरे अगेंस्ट पड़ेगा नहीं,
Hmm.
मेरा जॉब खतरे में नहीं आएगा, right?
Hmm.
So that sort of confidence you have to build with the customer. Now
अच्छा.
this confidence is different industry by industry. ये मैंने एग्जांपल गवर्नमेंट का दिया है. बिजनेसेस में उसको क्या लगेगा, आपकी क्रेडिबिलिटी लगेगी, इसके
Hmm.
पहले आपने कहाँ पे किया है,
Hmm.
हमने तो कहीं पे किया नहीं है,
Hmm.
तो ठीक है सर, तो एक फ्री पायलट ले लो.
Hmm.
ओके, अभी फ्री पायलट के लिए ठीक है अपना खर्चा जाता है, बट दैट्स पार्ट एंड
But your learning will be there, kind of
एग्जैक्ट
experience will be there.
एग्जैक्टली.
Hmm.
So free pilots, paid pilots, then building your credibility, building certification, participating in different startup competitions, winning awards, right?
Hmm.
Now, just because I was on Shark Tank, I have built kind of a credibility,
Hmm.
right? That credibility is appreciated by the other person.
Hmm.
It's all human interaction game.
Yes, yes. I will going to talk about the Shark Tank experience later on,
Right.
and I think it's gonna be exciting for your startup also, because after appearing on this such a large platform, many things started happen, and many people will start understanding about the things that you are doing. But coming on to the point that initially 1.5 year you bootstrapped the whole thing. You sold the property, invested your own amount of on it. So after that, you gone for investing. So like when you decided that this is the right time to actually go for some venture funding or some outside funding.
I have never decided onto that. Okay,
Hmm.
and this can be a biased opinion, but this is my opinion. मैंने इसके पहले 2 स्टार्टअप किए, दोनों
Hmm.
स्टार्टअप हमारे बूटस्ट्रैप थे. So
Okay.
we earned money for us, we lost money of ours. Okay,
Hmm.
even this third startup is bootstrap.
हम्म,
अभी कैसा है कि मतलब देयर इज अ कॉमन मिसकंसेप्शन कि भाई ठीक है चलो मेरे पास आइडिया है, तुम्हारे पास पैसा है, चलो धंधा डालते हैं।
हम्म,
ये कभी होता नहीं है। ओके, दिस मॉडल डजंट वर्क एनीवेयर इन द
हम्म,
वर्ल्ड।
हम्म,
देयर हैज टू बी समथिंग इन एडिशन टू दिस, एंड वो एडिशनल क्या है दैट इज अप टू यू. So getting having an objective of getting your startup funded will
हम्म,
never take you anywhere. You
okay.
first have to show the business. भाई इन्वेस्टर क्या बोलता है कि एक काम कर, मुझे एक ऐसा मैजिकल डिब्बा दिखा
हम्म,
जहां से 10 रुपए डाले तो वहां से 100 रुपए निकलेंगे।
okay.
ये डिब्बा तेरे पास है क्या?
हम्म,
अगर है तो चलो मैं पैसा डालता हूँ, इस डिब्बे को बड़ा करते हैं,
हम्म,
फिर इधर से 1 लाख डालते हैं, उधर से 1 करोड़
हम्म,
निकलेंगे। बट फर्स्ट यू हैव टू शो कि दिस डिब्बा इज समथिंग व्हाट यू हैव,
हम्म,
right? So that is where, so you would go for funding only to scale, not, I mean, sure there are a lot of seed investors and everybody, but I would strongly recommend against it as much as possible.
unless until you have a business, valid business model.
Valid business model which is proven by revenue.
Okay. So once you had that, then you went on to invest and show them this is the thing. So what was the vision you told? Like what was the vision you have that coming on, like in coming 2 or 5 years, here you will be, and these are the market you are going to catering to, solve the issue of those markets. So can you show a bit light on that?
हाँ देखो, सी विजन, आइडियाज आर वर्थ अ पेनी, ठीक है,
Hmm.
विजन आप कुछ भी दिखा सकते हो।
Hmm.
ओके, देर आर केसेस वेयर देर आर पीपल टू whom you can sell only vision, and there are people who sell only vision. Okay, I probably do not belong to that category. I
Hmm.
belong to a more practical category where I believe you have to actually have a working model to do
Hmm.
that. I'll take an example कि फॉर इंस्टेंस एक बहुत ही फेमस ब्रांड का वेबसाइट का एक एग्जांपल है, दे वांटेड
Hmm.
टू सेल शूज ऑनलाइन।
Hmm.
ओके, तो और उसके लिए उन्होंने सोचा कि अमेजोन जैसा एक वेबसाइट बनाते हैं जिसके ऊपर से हम लोग शूज बेचते हैं,
Hmm.
एंड पीपल वुड लव टू यूज इट। नाउ दिस वाज अ कॉन्सेप्ट। अभी इनिशियली अपने दिमाग में एक आइडिया है, तो हम लोग क्या करेंगे कि विल गो टू इन्वेस्टर और उसको आइडिया पिच करेंगे कि चलो ये करना है, इसके लिए मुझे वेबसाइट बनाने के लिए 15 लाख रुपए लगते हैं, तो
Hmm.
इसलिए आप मुझे फंड करो, ये वेबसाइट बनेंगे और अपना मार्केट अपना,
Hmm.
राइट? तो दैट इज माय सेलिंग पॉइंट। लेकिन इन्होंने क्या किया बंदों ने कि दे फर्स्ट स्टार्टेड सेलिंग शूज। ओके,
Okay.
एक कॉल सेंटर खड़ा किया, एक नंबर डाला, और उनके बंदे खुद फोन उठाते थे, एंड दे वर ट्राइंग टू सेल द शूज,
Hmm.
एंड दे वर फोकसिंग ऑन देयर निश।
Hmm.
Once they got some business running, they
Hmm.
got some orders,
Traction. Hmm.
then they proved to the investor कि देखो भाई अभी मेरा इसमें 100 रुपीज जा रहा है ऑपरेशंस में, इफ आई
Hmm.
हैव अ वेबसाइट then my operational cost will come down to 2 rupees.
Hmm.
Right? So that's why I need your funding, which is a very logical thing to ask for.
Okay. I do get this perspective, but many founder have this fear. Like suppose you started something and money started coming in, and you see there are competitors who will come late, who will see that your model is working. They go to investor and pitch the similar thing, and they will raise the fund, and then they can go bigger. Although originally you had this idea, you were working on that, but since they pitched it earlier, they raised the funding, now they are scaling up.
So there
This
are
is the fear many founders have.
absolutely, or yeah, and then there are 2 3 things around it. First of all, there are bad problems to have and good problems to have.
Hmm.
ओके, मेरे पास मुझे बिजनेस आ रहा है लेकिन वो रन करने के लिए मेरे पास पैसा नहीं है, इज अ गुड
Hmm.
प्रॉब्लम टू हैव।
Hmm.
दैट इज समथिंग यू कैन सॉल्व विथ
Hmm.
हेल्प ऑफ समबडी।
Hmm.
Secondly, again, as I mentioned, ideas are worth a penny. Execution is what matters.
Hmm.
आज ठीक है, आज आप कितना भी चाहे आप फेसबुक जैसा एम्पायर खड़ा कर सकते हो क्या? उनका तो आइडिया आपके सामने पड़ा हुआ है, क्या
Hmm.
करना है, राइट? तो आप नहीं खड़ा कर सकते। फॉरगेट अबाउट लीगल मैटर्स एंड एवरीथिंग। लेकिन जिस तरीके से वो उन लोगों ने एग्जीक्यूट किया, एंड दे इंक्रीज देयर पावर, इफ यू गो बाय दैट वे, सो नेवर बी अफ्रेड ऑफ शेयरिंग योर आइडिया, बिकॉज आइडिया डजंट मीन एनीथिंग। यू कैन ओनली अट्रैक्ट अ फ्यू पीपल। हाँ, यू हैव टू बी लिटिल बिट केयरफुल कि कल अगर मैं उसी स्पेस के कोई डायरेक्ट कंपटीटर के साथ बात कर रहा हूँ, तो मे बी आई विल रिजर्व सम थिंग्स अराउंड द यूएसपी। ओके, कि समझो अगर मैं फेसबुक के ही किसी बंदे के साथ बात कर रहा हूँ,
Hmm.
तो इन द फर्स्ट मीटिंग इटसेल्फ आई वोंट टेल दैट गाय कि मेरा फेसबुक तेरे फेसबुक से अच्छा कैसे रहे। सो दीज आर अ फ्यू थिंग्स व्हिच यू कैन, द यूएसपीज इज व्हाट यू प्रोटेक्ट। And if you look at any startup competition, आपको जो pitch deck बनाने को बोलते हैं, उसमें one of the important slides is what is the barrier to entry for other guys. अभी जैसे हमारे केस में we have filed a patent. तो initially हमने patent file किया, right? Because we know somebody might come up and they will try to copy it. At least there is some protection. Okay, तो कल अगर और ऐसा है कि कल मैं आपसे बात करता हूँ या किसी स्टूडेंट से बात करता हूँ, तो कोई स्टूडेंट बोलता है कि सर मैं ये ऐसा ही हमने भी बनाया है, हमारे भी दिमाग में आ गया. I meet with few people who say कि हमने भी ऐसा कुछ तो ट्राई किया था pothole detection का. So it's okay, मतलब we can work together, you know, I can be in that position. हाँ, कल आप पहले इतना बड़ा तो हो जाओ कि जब मैं आपके ऊपर केस डालूं, right? So that I can get benefited out of it due to the patent. So there is enough time with you to compete with others. Don't be shy to share your idea. There are ways in which you can protect, but identify that USP, which you know how it will differentiate from the competitors.
Okay. So coming on to next question, what is your planning, like scaling on a geography level, like connecting with other governments country by country, or also at the same time developing new category considering the use case of the technology that you are developing, broadening the product lines and like broadening the niche altogether? What is your scaling strategy?
So our scaling strategy, so first milestone in the strategy was to survive. ठीक है, क्योंकि हमने स्टार्टअप चालू तो किया, हम लोगों का सैलरी कैसे देंगे, राइट? So that milestone I think we have achieved. We are cash positive and we are generating decent money. So now we are going to the scale up plan. जहाँ पे obviously we want to, I mean the government business will continue. We are already working in 3-4 different states. We are also working with Singapore. It will take its own time. It will grow organically. But now our focus is more moving towards B2C. And B2B with latest technologies like self-driving cars or intelligent fleet management systems, logistics. So these are the areas what we are targeting, and we are building products for them.
Okay. How B2C model will work? I do understand a B2B model, but how B2C?
This is a fantastic question, क्योंकि इसी क्वेश्चन की वजह से हमने पिछले 5 साल ये किया नहीं, राइट? कि जो मैंने आपको इनिशियल आइडिया जो चेपा था कि भाई मैं गोवा जा रहा हूँ, 2-3 रास्ते हैं, उसमें से अच्छा कौन सा है, we can do that today, but the question is who will pay for it, right? And if nobody is going to pay for it, then how can I generate money from a free product? So that is what we are working on. Again, I can't share some of the USPs, but that's the concept. And yes, we are planning to come up with a free product from which we can get paid by some other means.
Okay, got it. And coming to our next question, so you how was like COVID situation, because the whole model depending on people transporting from one place to another. So I think during the COVID time, whole transportation industry not everyone moving for like almost 6+ month. So how you handle that situation?
Yeah,
and any kind of innovation that happens, because you got a lot of free time at that particular time. There were challenges also, there were fear, but also innovation would have also happened.
Yeah, I think COVID was a great reconciliation time for us. And हमारा तो काम रास्ते पे ही चलता है, right? तो अगर रास्ते बंद है तो we could not do any business per se. And nobody cared about potholes during that time. So it was a big tough challenge for us. But we did 3 things. I mean, first of all, जब भी कोई संकट आता है तो आप क्या करते हो, right? We took an assessment कि अपने पास कितना रनवे बचा है. So with the cash in hand, we can probably run for next 6 months. ठीक है, तो brutally cut down your cost by 50%. Make sure that you have at least 1 year's runway, right? So that's the first decision. Secondly, then whatever resources you are left with, we could अपना priority क्या है? From B2G, we want to move to B2B2G, right? So COVID time was the best time when we formed all our B2B partnerships, because everybody is on Zoom calls, right?
Yes.
You have to go to government office or anybody's office. So we took that as an advantage. लोगों को LinkedIn के through contact किया, and then we created our B2B network. And Singapore government was extremely efficient even COVID times. So वो robot का जो development है, that actually happened during the COVID era.
COVID time, yeah. There was opportunity because a lot of the roads were there was no traffic on the road, so it was also a good time to actually build
Right.
a better road.
And that's an example of how not to put all your eggs in one basket, right?
Yes, sir.
Because we are working with different customers. At least एक customer तो मिला जो काम कर रहा था during COVID.
Okay, okay. So also like running a startup is a kind of full time, like 3 time kind of shift. One of the I read a LinkedIn post in which it said that when you are doing a job in a company, it's a one shift, but in a startup, when you have your own startup, you are the founder. It's a 3 shift job. So how you like manage like what on day to day basis, what challenges you have, any kind of system that you have developed that keeps the things running smoothly, and also how do you handle the stress of the business?
Yeah. So, I mean, very good point. And I mean, probably you're touching 3 different areas. Does it create stress? Absolutely, yes. I mean, it takes a toll on your personal life, on your personal relations, and managing that stress properly. कि ऑफिस का काम घर पे मत लेके जाओ, right? ऑफिस पे मत लेके जाओ is the key, and you have to be strong enough to do that. Secondly, friends are the best resources where you can vent. For example, I have like 2-3 friends of mine, and we meet frequently, like after 1 week or 2 weeks. उनको मैं board of director कहलाता हूँ, although they don't have any stake in RoadBounce.
Okay.
But their only purpose when we meet is to bash me and grill me onto whatever I am doing. So that's my virtual board of directors.
Okay.
Because I don't have a boss, which is a very big problem.
Yeah,
You have to have a boss, otherwise you don't know wherever you are going, whether it's the right journey or not.
Yes, no one to tell you what is the right and what is the wrong, how you should do that thing.
And employees would never tell you. I mean, employees would, but I mean, it's in human psychology, right? That you should not confront with your boss as much as possible. So it's very hard to get that right direction. So these friends basically bash me, and they basically criticize each and every action what I am taking. So that's a good thing. And third is
they are also founder.
No, they are nobody, and they are working in different IT companies.
Okay.
In different jobs.
But you get the external perspective. That's the advantage.
Perspective. कि वो मतलब टिपिकल मिडिल क्लास पर्सपेक्टिव से जाते हैं कि ठीक है वही तेरा विजन इतना बड़ा है, अभी जेब में कितना पैसा है, ये वो, right? So these are hard questions which nobody would ask.
No one will ask you this question.
और तीसरा मतलब what I typically do to manage chaos, especially in startup world, एक सिंपल एक्सेल शीट बनाता हूँ, उसमें लिस्ट करता हूँ कि ठीक है अपने को these are the things what I can do. मैं एक फ्री ऐप बना सकता हूँ, मैं पोर्टल अलर्ट्स दे सकता हूँ, एक्स कर सकता हूँ, वाई कर सकता हूँ. उसके आगे 3 कॉलम्स रहते हैं. इज इट अर्जेंट, इज इट इम्पोर्टेंट, इज इट गोइंग टू जनरेट मी रेवेन्यू. जहाँ पे तीनों में 1-1-1 आता है, दैट इज द थिंग व्हाट वी टेक. Okay. So that is the thing what we work on next. It is as simple as that.
That's a very good advice. I personally will use that technique. Because there's a lot of things in as a founder we have in our mind we want to do. When we start working, we see a lot of opportunity at the same time, but due to there's a scarcity of resources, we have to put our whole resource in those areas without like keeping us ourselves check that we should not like divert too much, so that the thing that I'm working miss out that kind of focus.
Right. And this is important. So sorry, I'll just extend my thing. This is so important because it is coming out of my experience. Like at one point in our journey, we had like around 1.5 crore cash in bank. Okay, very good thing for a startup to have. Or we got excited and we started saying कि चलो भाई अभी और scale up करते हैं. तो तू हैदराबाद में जा, तू दिल्ली जा, right? तू कश्मीर जा. फिर ईरान में एक डेमो चल रहा है, वहाँ उनको सपोर्ट करते हैं. दुबई में जाके एक्सपो करके आते हैं. And then at the end of it, we realized कि चलो पैसा तो खत्म हो रहा है भाई. अभी all leads have progressed, but none has reached its destination. This is an example of how not to spread yourself too thin and focus on what you're doing.
That's very important because it's very easy to burn the cash. It's
Correct.
it's a very easy to burn the cash, but to get the same cash and double on that is very hard to
Right.
do. And yeah, it require a focus also. You cannot, although like you see a lot of opportunity, but you need to work on the things that's in your hand, that is in your control. Uh, so coming on to the most exciting part of this podcast, and I think in your life also that would be the most exciting part. How was the whole experience on the Shark Tank? Like, uh, first, let me ask you, like, what is the process? Like, you apply to Shark Tank, they have a certain numbers of round which you need to qualify, and then you got to actually be present your idea on the in the fronts of the judges. What is the
Correct.
whole process?
Yeah. So, okay, I can't talk much because of the NDA about
Hmm,
the process, but I
hmm,
can give you some general idea.
hmm,
It's very easy and very difficult to get onto Shark Tank at the
hmm,
same time.
hmm.
We were lucky. I was really not
Okay.
hoping to be there because our we are kind of B2B2G, right? Or B2B.
Hmm,
If you look at most of the startups which were there, most of them were B2C
hmm,
because everybody wants to target that 110 crore Janta of India and everybody wants to invest into that thing.
hmm,
And everybody gets passionate about our everyday products, not
hmm,
about auto detection products.
hmm,
So, I mean, the process is pretty simple. I mean, you can go to the Sony Leaf website, you can
hmm,
apply from there.
hmm,
It's a very comprehensive
hmm,
form.
hmm,
And then they take you through a few rounds of selections.
hmm.
I believe in the first season, around 50,000 people applied, near about 50,000.
50,000. Okay.
Around from which 50, yeah, I don't remember the number exactly, but very large number, out of which they selected around 100 or 115 startups. So obviously there are multiple layers of selection.
Hmm,
Uh, However, what I can vouch for is whatever you see recorded,
hmm.
that's something that has happened live. I mean, so it's a real show. You go there, you pitch live your idea to the people. They don't know about your company, you don't know about them, and it's a live interaction. So very good experience.
Hmm. And it happened like only few people actually raised the fund also, and you got the you got the best
Yes.
person for this, someone who is really enthusiastic about the technology. Lenskart founder invested in the company. How was like how did you feel like about the whole thing?
Yeah, no, no, that was a fantastic experience. I mean, I was not hoping to be there, and I was definitely not hoping to get an investment.
Hmm,
But I mean, Peyush got interested into that, and
hmm.
I mean, what happened? You saw it on the screen. So that was a good experience.
Okay. So what you said that you were not expecting, but also like there had to be some kind of thing like you will be if you go to Shark Tank, more people know about you. Also, the mentorship that you will be got from those people who will be investing in your company, like Piyush himself. So, what do you think? Like how with the help of with the help of Piyush, how things can become easy for you
Yeah.
coming time.
Uh, yeah, again, I cannot comment on the second part, but for the first part, obviously, I mean, that is the epitome of publicity you can get for a startup, right?
Hmm,
So, being there was a dream come true, getting associated with such a brand. And forget about investment, but we got so many interests after
hmm,
that, so many customers and partnerships
hmm,
that it was definitely worth being there.
hmm,
I mean, anybody, any listener of yours who probably want to present their company onto Shark Tank in the next round,
hmm,
I would definitely like to give this advice. I mean, you need to understand what that show is about.
hmm,
It's a show, right?
hmm.
So the product you have should have mass appeal,
Okay.
either from business perspective or from emotional perspective, which was my
Okay.
case.
Hmm.
Right? Although not everybody is going to buy my service,
Hmm.
everybody is concerned about potholes.
Hmm.
So
Yes. Yes.
that emotional, that large scale appeal should be there into your startup, and you have to be extremely genuine. That's the key.
Hmm.
So you should not be faking anything.
Hmm.
As long as you are genuine and you are true to what you are doing, you can definitely get an opportunity to be there.
Okay. So two things. Your whatever problem you're solving, it need to have a mass appeal. In your case, road bounce, you were solving the pothole problem which everyone experiences. So
Exactly.
many people, lot of like 90% people will connect with that particular idea. Second thing, your facts, your financial statement need to be very genuine. You cannot fake about that, those things. And these two things are very important if you want to like appear in the Shark Tank.
Absolutely.
So coming on to the next phase of this podcast, which is like a rapid fire round, in which I'm going to give you two choices. You have to choose one. You don't have to explain why you chosen one, but it's just a kind of rapid fire round.
Okay.
So shall we start it?
Sure.
So Android and iOS,
iOS.
funding or bootstrap?
Bootstrapped, obviously.
Okay. Depth or equity?
Equity.
Equity. Okay. Fame or money?
For a business, money.
Okay. For business, money. Okay. Customization or standardization?
Customization.
Customization. Domestic market or international market?
International market.
Okay. B2B or versus B2C or B2G? Government, business to government, yeah.
Yeah. Today, B2C.
B2C. Profitability or scalability?
Scalability.
Small team or large team?
Okay. I can't change my answers. Okay. Small team.
Small team. Okay. For this particular, why small team?
Small team is easy to manage. I have
Okay.
easy to manage, easy to scale, easy to pivot, and easy to maintain. You don't want to lose the people whom you have collected.
Okay, sure. So, according to you, which is the best startup which is going to change India?
Really
Any name comes up, like any top one or two, three, which you think that has a potential to actually do big things?
I want to talk about who will change India, but I guess, personally, I really like the growth story of Oyo Rooms. I think, that is one founder who has not run behind fame. He had been building the company very properly. And they have scaled their operations like anything. They have kept their headquarters in India, if I'm not wrong. Although they took some outside investment, their headquarters are still in Haryana. So very, very good founder story, which I would love to follow.
Yeah, Ritesh Agrawal is an inspiration for every founder. I think from such a young age, he has done so many things.
Right.
I think Oyo is considered to be the Indian startup who's crossed the boundaries and developed its office and giving employment to the people in US, America also. So yeah, that's the inspiration for every founder.
What inspires you as an entrepreneur is to be able to solve the problems. The books and movies and everything else are just the tools to do that. To solve the problem and to make money out of it, not to be shy about it. That's what the business is about, right? Otherwise, be a R&D professor. If you keep on solving the problems but just get the salary. So these two things should be there, and just get inspired by your everyday learnings, what you're getting out of around.
Okay. So solving the problem and also making the money, because if you don't make the money, your startup will not, you burn out eventually.
Yeah, take a simple example. There are so many people on the road, poor people, who probably need their everyday lunches and dinners. So I can start cooking and going out and giving it to them, right? Which we actually did in COVID. Actually, my staff was working in a charity mode, and we were providing food to the people who were stranded on the road. But that cannot be a business model, because I have to survive to keep on doing that. Right? How can I survive? If I can't survive, then I cannot give that charity.
Yes.
So your idea can be fantastic. It can solve somebody's problem, but it should also generate enough money to keep your engine running. And that's the balance you have to strike.
Yes. I also felt that this side that some people shy away from the money side, but it's the whole ecosystem. Like it's the whole economy. If you don't create the money, you will not able to pay out to the employee, and then if employee don't earn, their family will not be getting enough perks and things. Then the value creation, the whole chain of value creation gets broken. So money is also very important part of the running a startup.
exactly.
On the last aspect, any advice for aspiring founder you have? Any last minute advice?
Well, I believe most of your audiences are from younger generation, right? They
Younger
are,
generation, the MBA student, the working professional also. But
yeah.
give you, I tell you, like lot of MBA also want to start something.
Mhm.
But since I mean, if we even if we do MBA from top schools, it takes we have a loan, so we have to pay out and then we venture into starting something.
Mhm.
So that's the common trajectory. Around 10 to 20% MBA graduate want to start something of their own.
Mhm. Which is fantastic. Like if you want to start something, like right now, if you have a startup, then how do VCs evaluate your startup? So one of the part what they evaluate is, do you have multiple co-founders?
Okay.
You have to have, it should be a two-headed dragon. There has to be one head who is looking at the production and manufacturing and the
Hmm.
quality of what you're selling, and then the second person should be actually selling it, sales and
Hmm.
marketing, building the business.
Hmm.
It's good to sell something what you don't have and then
Hmm.
run behind it and actually build it, because you
Hmm.
are actually generating money,
Hmm.
instead of building something
Hmm.
and not being able to sell it. Then you are in a debt, essentially.
Hmm.
So obviously the sales guy should take leadership in defining the product market fit, and
Hmm.
the manufacturing and production would follow it,
Hmm.
doing it in a cheaper, better and faster way, right? So that's how the engine should ideally work. My advice would be, I mean, given that most of you are young, I mean, look at the cost of failing. For me, the cost of failing is too high. For you, it's
Yes.
probably minimal right now.
Hmm.
So if you have any idea, don't be shy about it. If you think it is worthwhile, if it's worth 6 months, 1 year of your life, go ahead, try to build it, fail fast,
Hmm.
and try to do something else. You will probably fail 5 times before hitting your ultimate jackpot. But every 5 times you should be learning.
Hmm.
Right? क्योंकि ऐसे भी stubborn लोग रहते हैं कि they keep on repeating the same
The
mistake.
same mistake.
So at least make 5 different mistakes. Sixth time you will definitely succeed in building a business.
That's a valuable advice, Ranjit sir. And I would like to thank you for being a part of this podcast. I hope that the lesson that you shared, the journey that you shared on this podcast, will be very helpful to the aspiring founders, someone who want to start something, and give them a kind of aspiration. And thank you once again for being a part of this podcast.
Great. Thank you very much. My pleasure being here.